Yo, family, what's good? Welcome back to another daily live stream on the channel where we have seen some unfortunate escalation from Donald Trump once again. Apparently, he's now trying to sue JP Morgan, and he's also now reinstigating these tariff wars as he is adamant on taking Greenland. We'll talk about both those posts and, of course, some recent Kaspa updates and the general market dynamic. One thing that's important to note, though, as we look at the market chart right now, despite this news, which is, a few hours old, we haven't seen too much of a reaction, which, if you're part of the VIP, those who are in there joking, formerly Tony and some others as well who have been a part of it, you are aware as to why we have not seen too much movement. These geopolitical tensions are important. What's happening right now is going to impact the market in one way or the other, but what these institutions, what their research is telling them is that the overarching community sentiment right now, the retail market, feel almost unfazed by these headlines now. Of course, not entirely. It will definitely cause some headwinds, especially if it escalates further. But just the announcement alone, people are not as reactionary and as emotional as they were before, which is important to note as well. And we can see Bitcoin still hovering around $95,000, which we did see yesterday. Bitcoin touched the upper level of this support band, and then it almost made a full recovery and is now currently down 0.27% on the daily time frame. It's playing out once again as we spoke about yesterday. We had anticipated that Bitcoin would probably end up continuing this negative pullback behavior. I think it's highly likely at this point Bitcoin will probably retest, as in end the trading day probably in and around or closer towards 94k again. And then once we hit this zone properly, then we'll see where the markets go from there. I'm more so betting on a potential reversal and Bitcoin therefore starting to trade back up to the 98k zone again. My thesis on that again is the fact that 94k was a critical level for Bitcoin, a very massive psychological level for retail as well, where we could not break out of that for over 2 months. We have finally broken out of that. So as a result, investors won't necessarily want us to lose that level because we are still very much in the belief that the bull market is on, that we are following the business cycle and we are just biding our time. If you look at Kaspa real quickly as well, of course, following alongside Bitcoin, we did see Kaspa yesterday just start to trade within this support band of around between the 4.15 to 4.55 cent zone. We saw it just dip in, bottoming out around 4.4, and we're continuing also in this momentum, currently down 0.51% on the daily time frame, valued at 4.49 cents. Have a little bit of a closer look. We could try to gauge where the level of support right now will be for the likes of Kaspa, so we ultimately know where a better DCA level is, or also where we could potentially look to take some trades. So we do seem to have a level in and around this zone here. From what I can tell here, we're seeing, well, most definitely one around here. I would also argue we have another level in and around here as well. As you can see, on multiple occasions, we have seen Kaspa touch around this zone here and then rebound. So this is also a zone that might be looking towards as well. And there's also another one in and around this area as well. These are the kind of three micro levels, if you want to put it that way. The main levels of support would be definitely down here at 4.16, 4.15 down here. These are the like intermediate levels between the support band. So that's why I'll be looking for Kaspa to potentially make some consolidation or some strength, if you will. Buyers trying to hold that level. I know Kryptoni mentioned in the last few streams, and I do tend to agree that Kaspa could very well come back down to 4.1, and I think it's possible. I think it's very, very possible. If we have a slightly wider look right now at Kaspa and the market, we can see Kaspa seems to be kind of in this, I want to say, a bit of an uptrend right now. We saw the bottom down here around November 21st of 3.6, and then we saw a higher low being formed here in the middle of December 18th or so, at around this 4 cent zone. We did see a peak here, end of November, which surpassed the peak here. So it looks like an uptrend pattern right now. Of course, this peak is nowhere near as high, so we'll have to see where it goes from here. Provided that we can manage to hold above 4 cents, this level here, we should still be respecting the higher low pattern and hopefully therefore call into a higher high pattern as well. I do think Kaspa will come back a little bit further. So I'm analyzing my potential long trade sales right now for Kaspa, or DCA level, I should say, to maximize the potential entry level. You know, a few cents not going to matter in the long term, but at least for the immediate short term, I'm keeping an eye on it. And I'm currently looking closer towards, I'd say, in around here would be my current thesis, depending, because Bitcoin doesn't have too much in terms of pullbacks till it hits that support as well. So I think Kaspa might end up hitting around 4.3 or 4.2, one of these supports here, foreseeing a little bit of strength. And we'll see where it goes from there. There's a lot of developments coming for Kaspa, which is the reason why I'm not overly bearish on the price action right now, because while they don't tend to call it price action, it does reinstate the belief and the strength of the project as well, which can be beneficial for keeping the price action up. But before we get into that, let's get into the other announcements. We look at the crypto bubbles right now. We can see actually it looks relatively green across the board, which does support the thesis that I was talking about at the beginning of the stream, which is this headline news, this uncertainty, this FUD, this Trump tariff, Trump suing JP Morgan stuff is not ideal. And we'll get into those posts, analyzing a bit more so. But retail don't care anymore. If this happened in 2025, boy, it would be a bloodbath. Think about every single time you saw a headline news with tariffs with Trump against China, Trump against Mexico, Trump against Canada, the Liberation Day, all these things caused such a massive backlash in the market. We are now 1 year on, or a few, like 9 months on even, and they will still cause negative price action. Of course they do, they still cause some headwinds, but for the most part, markets are generally looking green. LIT, lit is up 13, quants up 14, near up 5. Some of these assets that we're looking at as well that are doing well today, some that we're also looking closely in our VIP community. So it's great to see that they're also making gains, which is fantastic for us. So let's get into the news right now. Firstly, Donald Trump announces he is suing JP Morgan. This is quite an interesting post here. I think this is kind of the lesser of the two. It's not that serious for me, but either way, another headline news here. Trump announced a front page article in the quote fake news Wall Street Journal states, without any verification, that I offered JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon, the job of Fed chairman. This statement is totally untrue. There was never such an offer, and in fact, I'll be suing JP Morgan Chase over the next 2 weeks for incorrectly and inappropriately debanking me after the January 6th protest, a protest that turned out to be correct for those doing the protesting. I'm not going to get into the legitimate, the nature of whether the protesting was right or not. That's not the point of this. The point being is, it looks like Donald Trump right now is suing JP Morgan for a fake article being written by a Wall Street Journal, stating that apparently Trump offered Jamie Dimon the Fed chair role, which he disagrees with, and he said no. And apparently also because JP Morgan was speaking in bad faith of Trump about the protest, how it went about as well. I don't think it's going to matter much, truth be told. This is just, if anything, this might just be a way for the market to try and come back more so. So look at it as a potential DC opportunity. But this is, for me, is a complete nothing burger, but it's still news. And then the more important one, the one that has actually got people's attention now, in Trump's goal, seemingly, to take command of Greenland. I still don't completely understand the reason for why he wants it so badly. For what I've seen, American troops in America are allowed in Greenland. Denmark have been very, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know the word I'm looking for, but they have been helpful. They have been they are happy for America to have their troops and their bases up in Greenland. So why Trump is wanting it so badly, be it as it may, I don't know what's going on in his head. Either way, Trump announces a 10% tariff on Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, and the United Kingdom, and Netherlands, and Finland to begin on February 1st, which is from today. That is about 15 days away from what I can tell. The tariff will also then be increasing to 25% beginning on June 1st, which this is part of the issue that I have with the tariff, which is the fact that they have very much become weaponized. Whether they are necessary to help the economy of America or not, we can debate that till death do us part. The point being is these have become a weapon that Trump is seemingly using to get his way. That is something that I think everyone can agree to right now. So he's now talking about the fact that they are now subsidizing Denmark and all the other countries in the European Union, charging them tariff because we want to have Greenland effectively. Now, this therefore means that this is a headline, and that's also probably why the market's not reacting too much right now, because they're not in effect right now, but you could therefore see potential headwinds on January 1st if there is no deal made, which frankly the only deal that can be made is if Greenland is surrendered to the United States, which I don't see NATO particularly wanting to do that right now. But we'll see how it develops right now. Either way, the two key things we've got to keep into mind right now in regards to the market is geopolitical tensions, which does come in coinciding with tariff headlines, but geopolitical tensions and macroeconomic news, they are what drive the markets right now, more so. Macro has not been as drastic recently. It's been more so focusing on geopolitical tensions. So this is actually a very, very important report for us to take into account. We've got even a step-by-step guide on the tariff playbook, if you will, from the KYC letter here, which I'll be linking in my free Discord server, so you can go check that out and read through it for yourself. They've mentioned this post time and time again as well. The playbook tends to be the fact that Trump makes a cryptic message about the plan of implementing tariffs, and then he will end up doing it, doubling down, and then near the end of the deadline, either a trade deal will be formulated and it'll be null and voided, or the deadline will be pushed back a little bit. Happens time and time again. You see markets react in such a manner because they are emotional. But we can see the markets have not reacted. If you think about what happened to China, last time when China tariffs were happening, you saw a significant pullback in the market off the back of these headline news. Tariffs right now on all of Europe to be implemented in the next 2 weeks, and nothing's really happened. You might see more headwinds closer to time, but right now I'm not too worried for that, and I'll take this as another DC opportunity. Because I don't think it will amount to too much in the long run, truth be told. So we'll see where it goes from here. But this is important to note, very important to note. Now, before we get into some of the Kaspa updates, not too much for today's stream, but we'll get to them either way. We've got Winghorn back in the chat. You're doing very, very well, my man. We moon yet? Not yet, unfortunately. Still going to take some time, but I think we are, for the most part, on the upside. Welcome back, Tony Boy. You're doing very, very well. And you to also Gaz, Kaspa, Ferrari, welcome back, my manager, doing very, very well indeed. Wyatt, welcome back, and you too, Dung Knight. What's Secuirty? We'll get into that post in a very, very short moment. It's basically regarding confidence, which, for those who don't understand confidence, I made a summary of that on a Twitter post already, which I'll go through. But you see a new update from Michael Sutton in the research chat Telegram channel for Kaspa as well. Has Miles been here? I don't think Mr. Miles has been tuning in recently. I know he did message me ahead of time about he's got some stuff currently he's doing. I'm sure he'll be tuning back in to these streams daily once he's got his schedule sorted. Let's put it that way. But yeah, he's just doing some stuff right now. But I'm sure he'll be back soon enough. Either way, it's the weekend right now. People are not particularly caring on the market, which is understandable. We'll see how this weekend progresses going forward. Now, to get into the few Kaspa updates, this comes from the Terror bot that Jonathan Polinsky had made, which has been refunded a few times. This is basically just making a summary of what was mentioned from Michael Sutton in the Kaspa Core R&D Telegram channel. He published a report on the progress of confidence. Basically, we are building the sidewalk so the first apps can park on Main Street. And here is how I hear the current lines. Ollie Newman is finishing smart IDs to save space. It makes rules easier for the network to check without digging through old history. Easier Dev is building native tokens, other assets that gets Kaspa security without needing the middleman, which is great for decentralization as well. Maxim and Hans Moog are picking the math, so the ZK element 0 knowledge that is fast enough for apps to run on phone. Testnet 12 resets once the code is logic locked. So we'll see where it goes from here. Now, to understand confidence, I have to scroll back down a little bit, but I made a post on this not too long back, which I have been told is a good analogy of why it's so important. And it was responding to a question that we had in a stream back on the 4th of Jan, give or take. So someone had asked me, it's hard to see because it's so small, unfortunately, I apologize for that, but someone had asked me in regards to confidence, this massive security upgrade, which I'll put here, basically just saying that testnet 12 is the Kaspa testnet running confidence, a feature introduced by KRP17. Confidence let UTXOs enforce rules on how they are spent in the future using new introspection opcodes, scripts that can inspect the spending transaction and only allow it if a specific condition is met. It also enables native tokens, smart vault, congestion controls, trusted layer 1 bridge, and so on and so forth, even atomic swaps. Now, I broke it down in that stream as to why they are so big, the massive security upgrade it provides to Kaspa. And somebody asked me, rightly so, if there is a difference between Covenants and the Steam marketplace, because the way that Covenants effectively works is if you're setting if you've got Covenants integrated and you're sending a transaction from your wallet address to somewhere else, when you send that transaction, you've got it's sent into a vault. Not really a lockup per se, but it's in a vault. So if you set your Covenants, your parameters to, let's just say, 24 hours, the next 24 hours, that transaction is going to be in a pending state until it's officially sent through if the timeline comes up. Now, there's similar sort of features on the Steam marketplace where if you're trying to trade skins on the Steam marketplace, they typically have a 7-day lockup period, a trade period. Somebody asked me, Steam have trade reverts. So when someone sends a skin, you have to wait 7 days before the next person, and there'd be scammers who would exploit that feature, and they click the revert, so they still receive the money, but also get the skin back as well, which is not good at all. So this is a mass security update, game changer, but why? The TLDR is the Covenants don't have a revert button for the scammers. They add a safety shield for you. It makes it so that you don't have to worry about other persons being a bad guy. The full story is that on the Steam marketplace, there's a revert button. And with the revert button, as I mentioned, scammer can click that and they would end up getting their money whilst also getting the skin back as well, because they're basically pressing that revert button and the centralized entity being Steam, they would see the request for a revert and they'd accept it. They more than likely would accept it. So scammers took advantage of that. But with Kaspa, that's not possible. The only person that has access to the revert button is you yourself. If a bad actor or someone doing it bad faith got into your wallet somehow, they found your security key, got into your wallet, and they want to try to send all your Kaspa to another address or their own address, if you've got Covenants involved and you set up your security function for 24 hours, you then get a notification and you then got a 24-hour period to get back into your wallet. And then, or even more so, you go back into hopefully even more secure Covenant security setup wallet key, which then allows you to revert the transaction. Kaspa is decentralized, so once transaction is written into Kaspa's block DAG, it is permanent. Nobody, not even the creators of Kaspa, can revert it. So you have no central entity who can revert that feature. 7-day lockup that you see on Steam is just a delay that a scammer can use to confuse you and or pull the item back. But Covenants, they are a vault. It's not where the transaction is, already with the scammer and it's just delayed for a bit. The money is in a pending state, so it can be reverted only by yourself at any time. Only you have the power to cancel it. And it also allows for other big security updates like atomic swaps and whatnot as well. So it's a huge, huge update, and ultimately has updates here from Michael Sutton in regards to the progression of Covenants taking place right now as well, which is looking like it's progressing quite smoothly. Hopefully, we are still on track for the RTD hard fork in the next 3 to 6 months. I think the timeline currently is right now, which would be a big, big update as well. Creating a solid foundation for Kaspa as well going forward. And speaking of Covenants as well, Currency has also stated that they are already updated with the new Covenants as well. Our Rust framework enables us to be part one-to-one with every Kaspa core update, which is fantastic. So this is great to see as well. So shout out to Currency for that. We'll see hopefully more updates coming through. And then we also then have this from Rosario, who is a Kaspa ambassador, who is now a part of the Kaspathon. Kaspathon has now officially started as of, I believe it was yesterday or the day before. Rosario here has got a project in regards to Event Pay, which explores the concept-first approach to QR-based payments for festivals and cultural events built on Kaspa's real-time block DAG, which is really, really cool. So no wallet for users, fiat-denominated credits, instant settlement at an infrastructure level here as well. So this is just one of 205, if not more, builders and hackers that are now building. I believe we've got, I think it's roughly 2 to 3 weeks or so to kind of see what is being built. And you'll probably hear some of these builders jump on board of the blockchain banter spaces, be it Lev and Chris's, be it Carlos and Juan, be it me and Crypto Pumps, aka Jer, on YouTube. You might even see it on our own respective YouTube channels, just giving them a platform to explain what they are building, and if it's well received or not, what they're building is going to actually be something that we're interested in. But this is great to see as well. And speaking of the next blockchain banter YouTube space. I've already made a post about it. It is now official that myself and Joe, we are going to be doing it on Tuesday with Rory O'Neill from the KII, and we also have a strong potential that it'll be more representatives from the KII as well, which is really exciting stuff. So we're going to have a very, very, very jam-packed Tuesday session, getting a lot of in-depth insight, some new alpha in regards to what the KII are building with Kaspa, what they have planned for Kaspa, and where we're ultimately going to be hopefully seeing the progression of Kaspa in the short to medium and even long term in 2026, thanks to the KII as well. How are you active? How do you activate this reverse transaction thingy? Well, that's going to be explained further in due time. With Steam, it's just request for a revote, hit the revote button, it's just done. With Confidence, it'd be a case of, to my understanding, which is still quite limited because we're still trying to understand more about Confidence as it goes on. I'd understand that as you would have when the transaction is sent, you get a notification on your phone, on your wallet, or your desktop, whatever it may be. You get a notification that there's been a transaction requested, or it's requested, it's in pending state for the 24 lockup period that you set up. If you did not set up that period, you know therefore that a hacker's got into your system, you would then log into your Confidence key, and you would then log into that and then go through that to then revert the transaction, while also using that to then change all the security keys and security and locks on your actual wallet, so the hacker can't continue to get inside of it. But the Confidence adds another massive security, as it highlights as a safety shield. So should somebody get a hold of your keys somehow, then you still have a chance to potentially protect your own wealth, which is great stuff as well. So again, great stuff to see. And we're seeing the development of Kaspa, the building Kaspa accelerating as well, with Ezio, Ori, Maxim, Hans, and many, many more coming in as well. Welcome back, Falco. You're doing very, very well. I'm late. My shift's safe though, right? Yep. Your stuff is all good right now. Don't worry. All your Kaspa's great right now, to my knowledge. As long as it's on a hard wallet and not on an exchange, at least, because keeping anything on exchange is really, really risky. I don't do that. Worst case is I put it on a Kaspa wallet, otherwise it's in a Tangent wallet. Of course, if you're trading, then you can be on exchange. Of course, I do have money on exchanges for trading when I am looking at the market and deciding my next trade setup right now. But otherwise, then we're all good. Markets are still fine. Markets aren't reacting too negatively given the recent announcements from Trump. The tariff war starting up once again, which is another headache in itself. But we can see the markets are behaving perfectly fine. Bitcoin dominance is still hovering around 59-60%, to be expected. I still think we could potentially see Bitcoin dominance rally a little bit higher this year. It will eventually fall off, and altcoins will have their own run, in my belief. But right now, I see it still running a little bit higher. We can see still very much under 50 in the ISM, so we're still very much in a contracting economy, so we can't expect any momentum happening just yet. But the M2 money supply, the amount of money in the top 5 global economies, America, UK, Europe, China, and Japan, it's still at all-time highs and continuing to rally. So once this sentiment has shifted from risk off back to risk on, once equities, equity stocks, crypto, once these are perceived as worth the risk as an investment, you'll see this source of capital shift into these markets very quickly, as opposed to it being in the safer haven assets, namely gold, bonds, those sort of stuff as well. We are seeing a bit of a pullback in metals right now, although we are still near all-time highs. We're seeing volatility in silver, but you're seeing a massive pullback, but then actually ended up finishing not really much down at all. Happened yesterday, and even today right now we saw it come down similarly about 6%, and now it's only down 2%. Gold also near all-time highs right now. I think we can, for unfortunate case, still see a bit of a higher rally in metals because of all the uncertainty and geopolitical tensions right now with the announcements Trump's making and this trade war brewing. This is not just them as well. You also got the yen carry trade that's also impacting markets as well. You can see right now Japan is running as big as the dollar right now as well. So these are things to take into account as to why the market's behaving where it is. But you got to keep in mind as well, also because it's a weekend. That's why we're not seeing too much volatility as well. The TradFi markets are closed. And I think that's also what's explained. Typically when, in the step-by-step guide, typically when Trump makes these announcements, it's all explained right here. The most recent episode we observed on October 10th when Trump threatened 100% tariffs on China. Of course, one of the worst liquidation events in history as well. And then beginning November 1st, 21 days after the announcement, the timing may sound familiar because it's the exact part of the playbook. So Trump announces it on 10th of November, or 10th of October last year, which is when we saw the big crash that happened on a Friday. And then we saw it continue going down over time. But it's just kind of part of the play. Trump seems to always lead with this, and then you see it come back down. But then you've got 2 weeks to 3 weeks or so during this time where you see developments taking shape, deals being made, and then the markets end up just bleeding effectively for no reason. It's just headlines. Because it's a Saturday, because the 10th of October happened on a Friday, so the markets could react negatively. It's currently a Saturday, so the TradFi market can't really react to this. It's not 24 hours like crypto is. But again, crypto's not reacting right now because investors just don't care too much about these headlines news anymore. Not as much as they used to be. The playbook that's played out here is talking about how you see a message coming out. Later the same day, you'll see a new large tariff announced, which was announced, it was 10%, and then 3 months later it'd be 25% if nothing's done. He'll then double down, which he's going to be doing most definitely when the markets are closed. You're going to probably see another announcement about it tomorrow. And then you'll see the markets react in some manner or another. You'll see negotiations taking place. You'll see it probably continue to brew and get worse. And then, roughly like 1 or 2 weeks or a week or so beforehand, he'll then announce that they're working on it. Whether it's true or not, he'll announce they're working on it. And then you'll see the teasing of a trade deal being announced. And then it will be announced. That's typically what happens. Every single time we've seen a trade deal that happened, Liberation Day happened October 10th or around this time as well. So it's more likely going to happen again. Although, we'll have to wait and see. Because the ones with China and the other trade deals, I figured they were workable. This one I don't know. Because it's one thing when you're asking for materials in certain manners. He's asking for Greenland. This tariff is a result of him wanting to take control of Greenland. And to my knowledge, NATO are not happy with that at all. They don't want that at all. So I don't know how this is going to progress. We'll see. One thing as well to keep in mind though is that Trump's using these tariffs as, weaponizing them, and the Supreme Court is still yet to make a verdict on it. I think they've got till summer. But if they deem these tariffs as illegal, which, the manner in which he's using these tariffs right now does seem a bit... I understand the premise of needing extra material and, tariffs being a necessity for bolstering the US economy because it's got so much debt that's been accumulated. I can understand a potential legality or reason for why it's used there, potentially. Tariffs for buying Greenland, I don't understand that one as much. So this one blurs the lines more for me. So the Supreme Court, from my understanding, they will make a verdict on that at some point in the next 4 or 5 months. And right now, I think the general sentiment is leaning more towards them being illegal. And that would revert this decision as well. So I don't think NATO nations are going to react to this. So that could cause some headwinds as we approach February. We have to wait and see right now. We'll see how the markets react on the Monday right now, but I am ultimately not too bothered by this at the time being. I still think we are good as it stands right now for this year, 2026. What stops people from reverting legitimate purchases and ripping off merchants? Well, it's a very, very good question. And then I guess it would be a case of when you send the payment out, you would then, when the payment goes out, it'd be in the pending state, and then you click the authorize button. So, to my understanding, you send the payment out, it's in a pending state where it will be authorized in the 24-hour period that you set up. Either you click authorize or you revert that. So as long as you click authorize there and then, the payment goes through perfectly fine. Because you're sending it from your wallet. I believe that's how it works. I'll look it up also, Wing Hong, because you're making very, very good questions there, but that's believe how it works. The case of when the transaction is sent out, either you can authorize it there and then, or you have the 24-hour period to change that as well. a weekend before a Supreme Court decision, maybe. I'm worried about US military action. I mean, I don't think the Supreme Court's going to make a decision anytime soon. They said they'd do it on a Wednesday. They said that they'd do it twice in the last 2 weeks, and both times they didn't. I don't think we're going to see a decision from the Supreme Court until summertime. They'll delay it time and time again, which just gives us more time, I guess. I'm not sure how the markets are going to react as it stands right now, because I think it'll be probably the FUD shock reaction. You'll see a pullback, because then you understand that America's going to pay back an insurmountable amount of money to the nations they tariffed, which would be deemed as illegal at that point. But I don't think they're going to make a decision on that anytime soon. But the military action, that is definitely a cause for concern. So that's why markets are... I think that's also why markets are kind of very just stagnant. The stock market right now it's still nearing all-time highs, so they're still doing great, mainly driven by the AI assets, NVIDIA, AMD, and that lot. That's really what's pumping these S&Ps right now. You've seen a bit of a rally in Bitcoin since we've had the start of 2026 so far. It's been pretty good. You know, we're looking at currently an 8% up increase in Bitcoin, and then a total of 11%. So it's been good so far since the beginning of this year in the first 2 weeks. But it's only 2 weeks, so we can't get ahead of ourselves right now. Even Kaspa, in this case right now, since the beginning of the year, we're looking at much less though, only 7%. But even then, Kaspa's still done okay since the new year's begun, which is something to take into account. You've seen some assets doing very, very well. Quant, you know, doing fantastic today, which is because of their recent announcements, which I've been talking to my VIPs about. In Japan, it's great for them. So we've been, you know, making our gains on Quant. Quant's done fantastic so far in the new year, 20% up. But yeah, these tariffs the geopolitical tensions are definitely worth keeping in mind on, and these will cause headwinds, some potential sell pressure. So just keep that in mind. If you want to find out more, you're going to hear a much deeper rundown of it all in the VIP tomorrow, because I'll be providing much more institutional sources about this stuff as well that we can find, like from Wells Fargo most likely. If you want to find out more, tune into tomorrow's roundtable. Sign up for the 7-day free trial so you can basically get access to the institutional insight and the private roundtable for free. 7-day free trial, and you can tune in tomorrow, be 3 p.m. UK time, where we'll be doing our roundtable with myself, C Crypto, doing the technical analysis, and those who are tuning in as well, learning about the recent news, the institutional insights, the alpha documentation, and much, much more so on. Also, we'll be going through the AI document that we're about to publish in there, going through the assets and what we perceive as being potentially good picks, and what we could potentially look into getting to ASAP before the AI boom takes off this year. If you want to find out more, even, you know, one-to-one sessions, whatever you may want, then check it out. Links down below in the description. And you can find out a lot more in the physical server as well, and get a 1-month free trial for BYDFI. So go check it all out. One more crypto, be safe haven. That spikes when political uncertainty spikes. We got a while until that wing hung. We got a very long time for that, because crypto is still a speculative asset class. It's being now perceived as an actual legitimate one now, thanks to the laws coming in. But until we get regulations, it's still speculative. Bitcoin right now is the only one perceived as a safe haven. And even then, you're seeing, you know, look at Bitcoin. It's a small market in the span of, you know, 2 weeks. You've seen 8%, total of 12% market swings. Look at stocks. In a similar time frame, since the beginning of the year, you're looking at, you're looking at in and around a 1%, and that's a lot of capital. 1%, because the stock market's like 50, 60 trillion. So that's a lot of capital, but the volatility percentage is a lot smaller. Because obviously the market's smaller as well. So until the market grows in size, until it gets more adoption, until it's utilized properly, until we get regulations in play, it still won't be a safe haven yet. That will change in the coming years, though. You might see some significant steps taken shape for that this year. Tariffs get world leaders to take things seriously or suffer real consequences, get them to stop dilly-dallying and get to a decision before China or Russia come try and take Greenland before it's too late to make a decision. I mean, yes, but if China or Russia did that, NATO would still not... It doesn't... Whether it's China or Russia or America, NATO, Denmark, they're the ones who have, you know, I guess, ownership of that. They're not going to willingly give it to anybody. Russia and China also would understand that an attack on Greenland would be an attack effectively on the NATO alliance. And America's a part of the NATO alliance. And America are allowed troops in Greenland. That's what I don't understand. At least to me, to my understanding is America are part of the NATO alliance. So by extension, therefore, and they are allowed bases and troops in Greenland. So what's the reason for them to take it? Or what? Why do they want it? This is, out of all the things that I've heard, this is the one that I just don't particularly understand. The rest of the tariffs beforehand, for better or for worse, fine, but I'm not saying that I think NATO is going to stop them. That's not what I said. I just said that because America is part of NATO as well, it would also mean that with Russia or Greenland attacking Russia or China attacking Greenland, it would also be an attack on America as well because they're part of the NATO alliance, and the American military are allowed in Greenland. So why do they need it? Is that not making that military shipping channels and nuclear control of the region? Again, sure, maybe. Again, your American military, they are allowed in Greenland. It's not like you're being rebuked or not allowed in there. No one's banned you. I say you, like it's you, but no one's banned Americans into Greenland. As a part of being the NATO alliance, as the agreement that they have in play, American troops and they are allowed to set up bases in Greenland. So I just the way this whole situation for me is playing out is like it seems like from the side of like America cannot get into Greenland at all, but that's not what it is right now. You have military troops in Greenland. It's fine. And an attack, albeit God forbid it happened, from other nations on Greenland would be an attack on NATO. Whether NATO does anything or not doesn't matter. Point being is that's America as well, because America is part of the NATO alliance, is it not? So it's the difference would just be is that instead of Denmark being the NATO alliance having control, it's going to be America. That's the only difference it would be, but it'd still be the same thing, same premise. So I mean, I just don't understand it. Basically, we'll see what happens with it. I agree that the tariffs have been used as a bully tactic, but as a way to get leaders to get to the table. I agree that it's been used as a bully tactic, but I do agree that's exactly how that's the kind of benefit that these tariffs have had. It has forced world leaders to, instead of just dilly-dallying and taking a step back, they actually have to negotiate. So I agree with that, but and that's why I've not really said much on the previous tariffs in regards to, because I understand why they're being used, whether it be for bully tax. I see the benefits there. I see why I've been talked about, but this one I just don't get. That's all. This particular one, this trade war brewing, I don't get, because America is a part of the NATO alliance. So, and America military is allowed in Greenland. So, in the situation that there was to be a nation that was to want to invade for whatever reason, tactical advantage, whatever it may be, an attack on that, attack on NATO, would any of the NATO alliance, fight back? That could be debated about. I could argue also no, probably not. But NATO also includes America. So why do America need Greenland? Because you are by extension already you're able to go there. That's my perception of it, really. I don't particularly understand the strong desire right now to take Greenland. But again, there's probably hundreds of things about Greenland that I don't know about. The reason why Trump and this administration want it, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes right now. I don't see why NATO or the European Union or those nations would willingly give it up. But we'll see. We'll see. We've got 2 or 3 weeks anyways. US territories are way more protected than any NATO territory, and you know that. So if we make Greenland a US territory, an attack would be an attack on the mainland US. I mean, yes. Sure. But my point still stands. But this is why these conversations are very hard to have, because both points are valid. US treasuries are more protected, yes, definitely, but at the same time, an attack on NATO is still an attack on NATO. An attack on Greenland is an attack on NATO, therefore, by accident, an attack on America. So it's still like, you still, if there needs to be a, God forbid, a reason, then you'd still have all the reason because you attacked NATO, you attacked our alliance. If NATO goes to war, America would go war with them because that's what the alliance agreement is. So Greenland has rare earth metals, access via NATO, and the US doesn't allow access to resources. Okay, well that would also make sense then. That would be if that is true, and I'm just taking your lot's word for this. If that is true, then it would make more sense to why this has developed the way it has done. Yeah, it's not the same. It's not the same. I'm sounds like I'm being ignorant to that. I'm not. I understand that there's a difference between attack on NATO because you have to have the whole alliance agree to retaliate, as opposed to attack on US soil where only America have to rebuttal themselves. Look, end of the day, we'll see, right? We'll see. I still don't see this playing out too well. Be it for manufacturing or medical appliances, whatever the tariffs were beforehand, fine. I don't see a tariff for taking ownership of Greenland playing out the same. Because the problem comes then around, you've got to think about if this is how it goes about, the problem then comes that if this goes in the way of Trump, just hypothetically speaking, what's Trump from doing it to Denmark itself next? Again, this is a very stupid and very excessive hypothetical, but if Trump can force tariffs on nations to start taking ownership of land, then what's going to stop that that's what's going to stop that. For materials, fine. For land, that's just my thoughts right now. It's not a matter of me being anti anybody or for anybody. I'm ultimately just confused and into the reasoning for this, and I'm gonna keep a close eye on how it's going to play out as well for the markets. Right now, markets can't react because it's a weekend. You'll see how it reacts on Monday. You might see a bit of a rebuttal. You might see Trump double down on this as well and cause more FUD as a result of it. But at the same time, as I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, one thing we have seen now is that investors are a lot less reactionary to tariff headline news now. Right, okay. Well, I see where you're coming from then, Kryptoni. Well, we'll see how it pans out. I see what you mean. If you don't want... I get that. I actually do get that. Welcome back, Buffalo. Bro, you're doing very, very well, my man. Good evening as well, Greza. 9% sure Wallet 1 is KRI. Well, you're welcome to ask them. Whether they'll confirm that or not, you'll find out. But you're welcome to ask them on Tuesday. We have our roundtable, our blockchain banter space with Rory O'Neill and KRI reps on Tuesday. They may have links to the World Economic Forum, but not confirmed yet. I mean, that would be huge. Wouldn't surprise me either. People don't like the World Economic Forum for obvious reasons, but they are a leading they are a leading figure. So what they say has influence as well. I've got a lot of people in my community from the World Economic Forum as well, which is important to keep in mind. And it's beyond me how some people agree with tariffs as a negotiating tool, especially when the ones who end up paying them are the ones implementing it. Yeah, I mean, again, I don't want to make this a stream about tariffs. That's not the premise of this stream. The stream is just literally talking about this tariff headline and how they will impact markets. This is an educational channel, but education regarding crypto, effectively, in finance. Now, of course, tariffs do, unfortunately, I say unfortunately, the way that finance is very much panned out now is it goes hand in hand with politics, and be it tariffs as well now. There does seem to be still quite a massive misunderstanding of how tariffs function, about this well, for me, seeing evidence that it's the consumers that pay for it, but, I mean, either way, we'll see how it goes, right? I can see the tariffs. The tariffs have been used as a negotiation tool, and be it for the reasoning of getting world leaders to come to the table to negotiate as opposed to just dilly-dallying, fine, sure. But yeah, the tariff for Greenland is yeah. Yeah, I know. NATO. I mean, NATO. They don't want. No one wants to go to war, really, do they? No one wants to go to war. It's bad for everybody. Be it for finance, be it for actual human life. You know, it's the reason why Russia is normally always in a very, very bad light, because they've been going to war with Ukraine for a very, very long time. So tariffs are necessary. They might be necessary, but using the same tactic every day is just, well, I mean, yeah, that's kind of my point as well. I'm not here to debate the necessity of tariffs or not. I'm not here to really talk about tariffs, although this stream's been very much heavily focused on tariffs. But this stream is the fact that America is in an insurmountable amount of debt right now, which is evident due to all the money printing and whatnot. So tariffs to bring money back into America, fine, sure, makes sense. That's fine. But it goes from being a manner of bringing, the economy and stuff back to America, but it's become, you can't deny the matter of, while it's being used to help people get to the table, it's also being used as a bullying negotiation tactic. And then, the question still stands here: if this is the progression of how tariffs are used for land now, where does it stop? I think it's a very, very valid question. I think it's a very valid question that if tariffs are used for resources, for one, which is for bringing money back to the American economy, sure, fine. Then for land, okay, what's the next step after that? We should we should minimize international trade. I mean, you could also do that as well. Time for Elon to get to that moon mining base up and running. Honestly, sooner the better. Welcome back, Double D. Bro, you're doing very, very well, my man. You already pay for it in the free market. If you let the companies benefit from tariffs increasing the price simply because of competition, it's evident in the record profits. I pay attention to which US companies benefit from tariffs and which ones exploit the American people by using the. I mean, in that case, then, yeah, that's also very true, because tariffs increased. They also, the tariffs are increasing, meaning that the amount of money it costs to import materials from international borders increases as well. So therefore, they up their prices on American consumers. So companies that haven't done that, then it's fine. Companies that have done that, which a lot of them seemingly to, well, so I don't actually know, but I imagine quite a fair amount that have increased their prices because of tariffs, then that is impacting the consumer. But if you're importing, food or materials from another country, and the price has increased as a result of that, therefore, then that does impact the American consumer. Nobody cares about non-China tariffs. I mean, that's also very true, because China is the second biggest economy after America. So if it's not really China related, it's not as impactful. It's not the first time that Trump's danced with the European Union, and it did not really impact it that much to them. But this is more than just a tariff. It's not just a tariff about resources and materials. It is, but it's more than that. It's about land as well. Increasing the border. And that's something else entirely. That is something else entirely. So we'll see how it goes. There's a lot of drama right now between Trump Venezuela, Trump Iran, and Trump Greenland right now. So I'll be doing my much and deeper research for my executive roundtable tomorrow, and we'll be looking through what the institutional insight suggests and their outlook on what's happening right now, how the markets will potentially react. I think we see some headwinds, but I'm hoping it won't be too drastic. But with that being said, I know it's very much a tariff-related stream. It's not my intention, but truth be told, there's not been that much to actually talk about today. There was not too much like updates. We've seen a lot of them come out midweek. We've got a lot to be coming out next week as well, so that's going to be interesting as well. But yeah, I mean, we've seen Covenant update, which is great news as well. Kaspathon's now up and running now, which is fantastic, and of course we've got a big thing taking place as well. This is gonna probably play out. I'll link these posts in my physical server as well, so go check it out there. But these posts are going to play out. See how that impacts the market as well. Yeah, honestly, it's a evil world we live in, and it's a crazy time we live in as well. You know, be it for finance or just in general, we are very much at the fourth turning in all concept of the word now. The crisis and the snap moment, the flip switch moment is only moments away. There have been resources and research that I've conducted with my VLPs that suggest there's going to be a potential crisis happening sometime middle of 2026 that would also spark the next leg up as well in some capacity as crisis before rallying up. But we'll have to look through that as time comes on. Again, if you want to find out more, check out the VIP. Links are down below. 7-day free trials and whatnot as well. We are very much lacking. The economy is still contracting, and we haven't got regulations in place. The two key things is the regulations and the contracting economy. Once those change, we'll start mooning. With that being said, welcome back, brother. You're a little bit late as we're about to shoot up today, but Kaspa, yes, Kaspa, it's not doing too much today, which is perfectly fine. We'll see the price move a lot more as time goes on as well. I've heard that we won't move until Elon Musk puts a node on the moon. Well, that might take us some time. I have to wait and see how long that takes. Hopefully we get the Kaspa node up in space at some point soon as well. I'll actually ask, hopefully, if I see if I can ask Rory on Tuesday if he's got any updates on that as well. Although I think it's very much still in a concept stage, so we'll have to wait and see. But that being said, family, hope you enjoyed today's content. Being aware of what's happening in the world right now and how it can impact markets. I think very short term we see some headwinds, probably starting next week some headwinds, but the price reversal and the positive price action will come back soon enough as well. If you want to find out more, if you want to get the tier expert from Crypto to get an much deeper rundown of the markets and the levels of support, whatnot, links down below in the description. Wow, Falco, thank you very much for the 5 gifted membership. Thank you, brother. You are absolute legend for that. Falco once more, the generous individual that he is, giving 5 gifted subs. So you now got Stuntoma, you've got Nessie, you've got Bufflink, Justin, Crypto OG, and Crypto BTC Kaspa. All of you lucky individuals got the membership. Shout out to Falco once more. Unfortunately, that means Erica has missed out once again. Hopefully she gets a hold of that next time she's tuning in. With that being said, family, thank you all for tuning in once more. If you enjoyed, leave a like, share with your friends and subscribe for more. Find out more information in the physical server, the VIP, the Twitter, and also check out BYDFI as well to level up your trading game. That being said, have a great day, good evening, and good night, family, and I'll see you all in the next one.